Without further ado, let's welcome our first speaker, Olive Lang. Olive is a graduate student here in the College of Communication Disorders and Sciences, and today she'll be talking to us about the challenges of learning a second language and speech accuracy.
I remember the first day when I arrived America. The officer from the customs asked me, "What do you like about California?" I said, "I like the ocean and the beach." He started to laugh. "Do you mean beach?" At the moment, I was so puzzled, and I didn't know why. It's so funny. I had so many moments like this, even though I had 12 years of English learning in school and some other English tutoring I've had on my own. It is not easy to acquire correct pronunciation in the second language if you don't know how. But I'm particularly lucky as well. I came here for my master's program, and my master's program is in communication disorders and sciences. Language is what I study, and speech production, English pronunciation is part of our scope of practice. As we know, if you learn a second or another language later in the life, 99% of the chance you'll have an accent in this second language. For example, my pronunciation of English right now is different from those of native English speakers, as you can hear. The problem is, why do I have this accent? Can other English speakers understand my speech with the accent? To what extent the accent impact my speech intelligibility? And if I want to improve my English pronunciation, or someone who learns English as a second language, what can I do? My study essentially is to answer those questions. First, where does this accent come from? One of my hypotheses in the study is for those vowels sharing similar features in the first and second language, we expect no significant different productions between Chinese and American English speakers. But for those vowels, for those sounds which don't exist in the first language, Chinese learners are expected to show more difficulties producing them. As a native English speaker, you probably won't notice how you produce sounds. Let's speak some words out loud here. Bead, bed, bade, bed, bad. Try it on your own. Did you notice the position change of your tongue? Your tongue gradually lowered as you produce those words, because the vowel in each word require your tongue at different positions. That's crazy if you think about it. Our mouth has such tiny, small space, and we have to divide it into 5 different levels in terms of height. After I learned this, I finally understand why my English sounds so sloppy at the first place. The graph here shows all vowels in English and Chinese. I know it seems very complicated, but please bear with me. It will make sense soon. When we produce vowels, the primary articulator is our tongue. You can think of the purple quadrilateral as a representation of our mouth space. And all the features written outside of the quadrilateral are different categories of features used to classify vowels. For example, the features circled here are tongue height, as we just practiced earlier. Let's take a look on the triangle in the center. All Chinese vowels are distributed in the triangle, which is a much smaller space compared to English vowels in the quadrilateral. As a native Chinese speaker, I only have 3 instead of 5 different heights to produce vowels of my mother tongue. Other than that, Chinese vowels don't have the whole category of tense lags. That is long or short vowels. Long vowels are generally longer in duration and require more muscular effort than short vowels. For example, the English vowels E, A, beach, and bitch. However, all Chinese vowels are long vowels. How could I even know there's a difference between beach and bitch? This study is still ongoing. What we do is to collect perception and production data of English sounds from Chinese learners. And of course, we have the control group, native English speakers. And all the data will be analyzed acoustically and statistically. The findings will be useful reference and can be applied to not only clinical English pronunciation training, but also in ESL programs. Right now, I want to go back to the question of why this study is important. Will it be important enough to make a change on people's view seeing this world? My answer is absolutely yes. If you think about it, people are learning another language, English, worldwide, for more opportunities, for their own interests, for a better life, etc. However, the learning process of another language still remains challenging when it comes to attain a native-like pronunciation. It is frustrating, and it may bring a stigma to the learner. Oftentimes, I'm not sure why, but people judge people by how they speak. Are you articulate? Are you a good communicator? If you cannot speak clearly, you're probably dumb. If I cannot understand your speech, it's not worth my time. So this study is not only to investigate the nature of second language acquisition, but also to educate the public that there's an objective reason why second language learners have the accented speech. And we have an evidence-based approach to support it. Last but not the least, my funny story in the airport is no longer a laughing matter. It's worth our attention to think beyond the joke. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your interesting talk.
Thank you.
I have a question for you. By the way, I'm one of your judges, Dr. Vicki Graham. It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I'm Doris Abrashami. Very nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you.
My question relates to the last point that you made regarding possible social stigma and sort of value judgment around accents. And I was wondering, you said in your abstract you submitted that your stated impact was, you were looking at the impact of language to acquisition. And I was wondering if you studied anything around the psychosocial domain in your study.
You mean like the stuff around L1 and L2?
Related to stigma perception around social stigma.
Around social stigma. I think because my major is mainly studying like the language development or the language, the nature by its own. So like the social aspects is not like the emphasize in our program, but that is very I would say it's very obvious, or it's from my observation, for sure. And also because my first language is Chinese instead of English. So it's kind of, and also from my communication with some of my peer Chinese international students. So those are majorly from my observation.
Thank you.
Thank you.